っくりレ夢ムです。
ゆっくりマリサだぜ。
Hi, Raimu Marissa. Hey guys.
Laplace's demon, the entity that knows everything, and why it can't exist.
ゆっくりしていってね。
Section 1. Hook, imagine a being that knows the exact position of every single atom in the universe. Every particle, every molecule, every electron in every atom in every cell of your body, right now, at this exact moment. And this being also knows every physical law that governs how those particles move and interact. Here's the question. Could that being predict your every future action? Every decision you'll ever make? Every word you'll ever say? Every thought you'll ever have before you have it? Could it look at the universe right now and tell you exactly what you'll be doing on the morning of your 80th birthday? A French mathematician named Pierre-Simon Laplace said yes. In 1814, he described exactly this kind of being and argued that such a being would see the entire future as clearly as the present. No mystery, no uncertainty, no surprises, just an endless chain of cause and effect, all the way from the Big Bang to the end of time. He called it an intellect. Everyone else called it Laplace's demon. And 2 centuries later, the question it raises, do you actually have free will, or is your entire life already written, is still completely unsolved. Section 2. The story begins, 0:45 to 4 o'clock. Let's go back to 1814. Paris, France. Napoleon has just been forced from power. Europe is reshaping itself after decades of war. And in the middle of all that political chaos, a 65-year-old mathematician publishes a small philosophical essay that has nothing to do with Napoleon and everything to do with the nature of reality itself. His name is Pierre-Simon Laplace, and he is one of the most brilliant scientists who ever lived. Laplace spent his career solving problems that Newton had left open. He worked out the stability of the solar system, explaining why the planets don't fly off into space or crash into each other over millions of years. He developed probability theory into a rigorous mathematical framework. He made fundamental contributions to physics, astronomy, and statistics. Napoleon once asked Laplace why his massive book on the mechanics of the solar system contained no mention of God. Laplace reportedly replied, "I had no need of that hypothesis." That response tells you something important about how Laplace saw the universe, not as a creation guided by divine will, as a machine, a perfect, deterministic machine governed entirely by physical laws. And in 1814, in the introduction to a book on probability, he described what a truly complete knowledge of that machine would look like. The passage is short, maybe 200 words, but those 200 words launched a philosophical controversy that has never fully ended. Laplace described an intellect, a hypothetical mind, that at one particular moment knew the position and momentum of every particle in the universe. And knowing the laws of physics that govern those particles, this intellect could calculate the complete future state of the universe, and equally, its complete past. For such an intellect, Laplace wrote, nothing would be uncertain. The future, like the past, would be present before its eyes. He meant it as an illustration of determinism, the idea that the physical universe follows fixed laws with no exceptions. He did not mean it as a horror story, but for a lot of people, that's exactly what it became. Section 2. The story begins. Let's go back to 1814. Paris, France. Napoleon has just been forced from power. Europe is reshaping itself after decades of war. And in the middle of all that political chaos, a 65-year-old mathematician publishes a small philosophical essay that has nothing to do with Napoleon and everything to do with the nature of reality itself. His name is Pierre-Simon Laplace, and he is one of the most brilliant scientists who ever lived. Laplace spent his career solving problems that Newton had left open. He worked out the stability of the solar system, explaining why the planets don't fly off into space or crash into each other over millions of years. He developed probability theory into a rigorous mathematical framework. He made fundamental contributions to physics, astronomy, and statistics. Napoleon once asked Laplace why his massive book on the mechanics of the solar system contained no mention of God. Laplace reportedly replied, "I had no need of that hypothesis." That response tells you something important about how Laplace saw the universe, not as a creation guided by divine will, as a machine, a perfect, deterministic machine governed entirely by physical laws. And in 1814, in the introduction to a book on probability, he described what a truly complete knowledge of that machine would look like. The passage is short, maybe 200 words, but those 200 words launched a philosophical controversy that has never fully ended. Laplace described an intellect, a hypothetical mind, that at one particular moment knew the position and momentum of every particle in the universe. And knowing the laws of physics that govern those particles, this intellect could calculate the complete future state of the universe, and equally, its complete past. For such an intellect, Laplace wrote, nothing would be uncertain. The future, like the past, would be present before its eyes. He meant it as an illustration of determinism, the idea that the physical universe follows fixed laws with no exceptions. He did not mean it as a horror story, but for a lot of people, that's exactly what it became. Section 3. The evidence. Let's look at the evidence. Because Laplace's demon isn't just a thought experiment. It connects to real physics, real experiments, and real unsolved mysteries about the nature of reality. First piece of evidence, Newton's clockwork universe. Laplace didn't invent the idea behind his demon. He inherited it from Isaac Newton. Newton's laws of motion, published in 1687, were a revelation. They showed that the movement of any object, a cannonball, a planet, a falling apple, could be predicted with perfect precision if you knew its starting position and speed. The math was exact. The predictions were exact. Apply force. Know the starting conditions. Calculate the result. Every time. This worked so well that scientists began to wonder, what if everything follows Newton's laws? Not just planets and cannonballs. Everything. Every molecule of air. Every atom in your body. Every chemical reaction in your brain. If everything obeys deterministic physical laws, then the state of the universe right now was completely determined by the state of the universe 1 second ago. And the state 1 second ago was determined by the state 1 second before that. All the way back. The present is the result of the past. The future is the result of the present. Laplace's demon follows directly from this. If the universe is a machine, and Newton's physics made it look very much like one, then a sufficiently powerful mind could read the machine's future from its current state. But that's where things became strange. Second piece of evidence, chemistry and biology seemed to confirm it. Through the 1800s, the deterministic picture kept winning. Chemistry showed that chemical reactions follow fixed laws. Biology began to show that living organisms obey physical and chemical laws just like everything else. The brain was shown to be physical, an organ made of cells, running on chemistry and electricity. And if the brain is physical and physics is deterministic, then your thoughts are the output of a deterministic physical process. Which means the thought you're having right now, about whether you agree with that statement, was determined by the physical state of your brain before you had it, which was determined by the state before that, which goes all the way back to conditions that existed before you were born, before your parents were born, before the earth existed, back to the first moments of the universe. The hidden truth that determinism implies is this: every choice you've ever made, every regret you've ever felt, every moment you thought you were deciding freely, it was all the output of a chain of physical events that was set in motion 13.8 billion years ago. At first, this seems like a philosophical curiosity, a strange implication that doesn't change everyday life. Then investigators pushed further, and the implications became genuinely disturbing. Third piece of evidence. If the demon is right, free will doesn't exist. Here's the problem with a determined universe. Free will. The feeling that you choose what to do, that you could have done otherwise, that your decisions are genuinely yours, requires that your choices not be completely determined in advance by prior physical causes. But if Laplace's demon can calculate your every future action from the current state of your atoms, then your choices aren't really choices. They're outputs, predictions that could be made before you made them. You would be, in the most literal sense, a very complicated machine running a program written by the laws of physics before you were born. The feeling of choosing would still be there, but the choice itself would be an illusion. Laplace wasn't trying to make this argument. He was making a point about physics. But the implication was right there in the logic, and philosophers immediately saw it. If determinism is true, free will, as most people understand it, is false. And determinism looked very, very likely to be true. Until quantum mechanics showed up. Fourth piece of evidence. Quantum mechanics shattered the clockwork. In the early 1900s, physicists investigating the behavior of atoms discovered something that nobody expected. At the quantum level, the level of individual particles, the universe is not deterministic, not approximately non-deterministic, not practically unpredictable because the calculations are too hard, genuinely, fundamentally, irreducibly random. The most famous demonstration of this is radioactive decay. An individual radioactive atom will decay, emit a particle, and transform into a different element at a completely random moment. Not random in the sense that we don't know what's causing it. Random in the sense that nothing is causing it. There is no hidden mechanism, no prior state that determines exactly when it decays. All you can calculate is probabilities. The atom has a 50% chance of decaying in the next hour. But whether it actually decays in that specific hour, that is not determined by anything. This is not a measurement problem. It's not that the information is there and we can't access it. According to quantum mechanics, the most precise and successful theory in the history of science, the information does not exist. The outcome is genuinely undetermined until it happens. Laplace's demon cannot predict something that isn't determined. At first glance, this seems to kill the demon entirely. The universe isn't a clockwork after all. It's fundamentally random at its deepest level. Free will might be real. Problem solved. Then investigators examined it more carefully and discovered something unexpected. Quantum randomness doesn't obviously help free will, because random isn't. Theory 1. Laplace's demon is impossible, even in principle, for mathematical reasons. This theory doesn't rely on quantum mechanics at all. It says the demon fails on its own terms, even in a perfectly classical universe. The argument comes from mathematics and information theory. For the demon to predict the future state of the universe, it would need to process and store information about every particle. But the demon is part of the universe. Its calculations would require physical resources, matter, energy, space, that exist within the universe it's trying to model. The act of computing the universe's future state changes the universe's state. The demon affects the system it's trying to predict. And any computation that tries to include its own effect on the system runs into problems that mathematicians have proven are unsolvable in principle. There's also the speed issue. A computation is physical. It takes time. By the time the demon finished calculating the universe's state at moment t would already be in the past. The strength. This argument doesn't require quantum mechanics or free will. It works purely from physics and math. The weakness. It argues the demon is impractical, not logically impossible. Some philosophers say this misses the point. Laplace's demon was always a thought experiment about the nature of determinism, not a blueprint for a real machine. Theory 2. Chaos theory makes prediction impossible in practice. Even if the universe is deterministic, predicting it is hopeless. Not because the demon lacks computing power, but because of a phenomenon called sensitive dependence on initial conditions. Most people know this as the butterfly effect. In chaotic systems, weather, fluid dynamics, the trajectory of a pool ball after several collisions, tiny differences in starting conditions produce wildly different outcomes. A difference in position of 1/1,000,000th of a millimeter becomes, over time, completely different behavior. To predict a chaotic system with perfect accuracy, you need to know the starting conditions with perfect accuracy. Any measurement has some level of uncertainty. And in a chaotic system, that uncertainty grows until prediction becomes impossible. The strange implication. In a chaotic universe, even a demon with almost perfect knowledge would quickly lose its ability to predict. Its predictions would diverge from reality faster than it could correct them. The strength. Chaos theory is real, well-established physics. Weather really is unpredictable beyond about 2 weeks regardless of computing power. The butterfly effect is genuinely documented. The weakness. Chaos theory doesn't defeat the demon in principle. It's a practical limitation, not a logical one. A truly perfect demon, with literally perfect knowledge, could theoretically escape chaos theory by having zero measurement error. The theory challenges the demon's feasibility, not its concept. Theory 3. Quantum mechanics kills the demon, and that saves free will. This is the most popular position among people who want free will to survive. Quantum mechanics introduces genuine, irreducible randomness into the universe. Not just practical unpredictability, real, fundamental uncertainty. The demon cannot predict something that isn't determined. Therefore, the demon cannot know the future. Therefore, the future is genuinely open. And if the future is genuinely open, free will might be real. The strength, it directly defeats the demon using confirmed, tested physics. The weakness, as we saw in the evidence section, randomness doesn't equal freedom. Your choices being partly random doesn't mean you're free. It means you're partly unpredictable. Those are different things. Some philosophers argue this theory saves the letter of free will while losing its spirit. Theory 4. Determinism and free will are both true. They're just about different things. This theory is called compatibilism, and it's the position held by a surprising number of professional philosophers. The argument, free will and determinism are not actually in conflict, because they describe different things. Determinism is a claim about physics, about how physical events cause other physical events. Free will is a claim about agency, about whether your decisions flow from your own reasoning, values, and desires. When you decide what to eat for breakfast, the physical process underlying that decision may be deterministic. Every neuron that fires, every chemical that flows, determined. But the decision still came from your reasoning, from your preferences, from you. Compatibilists say that free will just means your decisions flow from your own mental processes, not that those processes are exempt from physical laws. The strength, it dissolves the conflict rather than fighting it. It's also how most people actually think about free will in everyday life. The weakness, it redefines free will in a way that some people find unsatisfying. If your reasoning and your values and your desires were themselves the product of prior physical causes, going back before you were born, are they really yours? Compatibilism says yes. Critics say it's just a word game. Section 5. The most likely answer here's what the investigation suggests. Laplace's demon, as described in 1814, cannot exist. The evidence against it is strong and comes from multiple directions. Quantum mechanics makes the universe fundamentally non-deterministic at the particle level. Even in principle, no being can know the exact position and momentum of every particle simultaneously. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle rules it out, not as a practical limitation, as a fundamental feature of reality. Chaos theory makes prediction practically impossible even if the universe were deterministic. The information requirements grow faster than any conceivable computing resource could handle. And the mathematical arguments about self-reference, about any system that tries to model itself from within, create problems that may be logically unsolvable. So the demon is dead. Or at least, it cannot be what Laplace described. But here's where the investigation gets more interesting. Killing the demon doesn't solve the free will question. It just removes one obstacle. The deeper question, whether your sense of genuine choice reflects something real about how your decisions are made, or whether it's a sophisticated illusion produced by a brain that was built by genes and shaped by experiences you didn't choose. That question doesn't depend on whether the universe is deterministic. It depends on what you think free will actually means. If free will means completely uncaused by prior events, then quantum randomness doesn't help, and neither does anything else. Genuinely uncaused choices would be random, not free. If free will means caused by your own reasoning and values rather than external compulsion, then compatibilism might be right, and free will might survive even in a mostly deterministic universe. The hidden truth in this case is that the demon was never really the mystery. The demon was a mirror. It showed us the question that was hiding behind our everyday sense of choosing and deciding and being responsible. And that question, what is a choice, really, and can one be genuinely free, is one that the demon can't answer, even if it could calculate everything else. Section 6. Conclusion. Here's what I keep thinking about after going through all the evidence in this case. Laplace wrote his famous passage in 1814. He wasn't trying to terrify anyone. He was making a point about probability, that we use probability not because the universe is random, but because we don't have perfect knowledge of a determined system. He probably didn't expect his hypothetical intellect to spawn 2 centuries of philosophical crisis. But it did. Because the demon pointed at something uncomfortable that was already there. The feeling of choosing, the feeling of being the author of your own life, is one of the most basic features of human experience. It underlies everything we believe about responsibility, about justice, about what it means to deserve something good or bad. And Laplace's demon, in 200 words, suggested that the entire thing might be an elaborate story we tell ourselves about a process that was determined before our great-great-grandparents were born. Quantum mechanics pushed back. The universe is not determined. The demon cannot exist. But quantum mechanics also revealed that the universe at its foundation is random. And random doesn't feel like freedom either. So we are left somewhere strange, in a universe that is neither fully determined nor simply free, where the future is not written, but also not entirely ours to write. Neuroscientists have added another layer to this documentary. Experiments by Benjamin Libet in the 1980s, later replicated and debated extensively, showed that brain activity associated with a voluntary movement begins before the person is consciously aware of deciding to move. Not by milliseconds, by several hundred milliseconds, nearly half a second. The brain starts preparing the action before the conscious mind reports making a choice. Does that mean the choice was made before you made it? Or does it mean consciousness is simply the last step in a process that was already yours? Investigators are still arguing about it. Here's the detail I can't fully let go of. Right now, as you watch this video, your brain is processing information, building a response, forming an opinion about whether free will is real. Is that process you making up your mind? Or is it your neurons running a program that will produce a feeling of deciding, with the decision already locked in? Laplace's demon can't answer that question. Physics can't fully answer it. Philosophy hasn't answered it. But you have an opinion about it right now. The question is, did you choose that opinion? Or did it choose you?